Hey everyone, this is JD and welcome back to the Figgy Pop Culture channel. We are in our next panel from CinemaCon 2026 and tonight we're going to be talking about the Amazon MGM panel. Yeah, this was the final panel for Wednesday night and they went over quite a bit of stuff at the Amazon MGM panel. Just a reminder to everybody, CinemaCon is not a fan fest, it's not a convention like a comic book convention or anything like that. This is a convention for theater owners and this footage is mainly meant for them to get them excited about the upcoming movies that are going to be hitting their theaters. So, and unfortunately for MGM Amazon, it was kind of a letdown with this year. So let's go ahead and just jump into the movies that they discussed here. So first up, they brought out Michael B. Jordan to talk about the Thomas Crown Affair, another remake in this movie. But you know what's really exciting about this one? From the post I've been reading about it, it seems that Michael B. Jordan is really excited about making this movie. And it is a retread on the original one. He talked about how he loved the Pierce Brosnan version, how he loved the Steve McQueen version of the Thomas Crown Affair, and he's taking bits and pieces from each of those movies into his own version of the movie. So they did show a trailer, and it's pretty much very similar to what we've seen in the past. Very much the cat and mouse game between Michael B. Jordan's character, Thomas Crown, and the museum's insurance investigator, who is played by Adria Arjona. I think I pronounced that correctly. Who just got cast in the new DC Superman movie. And Michael B. Jordan kind of makes a little remark about, like, say, here's our new DC hero. So, yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. So, that was the first movie they talked about here at the panel. And then they jumped right on into Masters of the Universe. And many people were speculating that we're going to actually be showing the full movie at this panel. Unfortunately, they did not. Pretty much all the attendants got these giant rubber swords or stone swords that they could walk around with at the convention. And they also did show some clips. And it didn't seem like it was that much new footage. They showed a clip with He-Man in the back of a police squad car and the cops are talking about him. We see when he first meets Tila. We got kind of a bit of that stuff. We did see some stuff from Eternia, and we saw some more footage and more characters that will make up the He-Man universe, like Mechanic. So, yeah, we got some really cool shots in there. So, when the new trailer hits pretty soon, I bet you're going to see a lot of this footage. And I don't know about you, I am kind of excited to see the new Masters of the Universe movie. What are your thoughts? Next up, they had Beekeeper 2. So I never saw the first Beekeeper. So I'm not even sure what this movie is going to be about. All the Jason Statham movies kind of seem similar at this point. But from what the people have described in the trailer clip, it looks like it's just a crazy action movie. And basically we just have this hitman played by Jason Statham who is coming in and just kicking butt. And there's a lot of bees. There's even like some weird bee jokes in the movie too. And yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be very much an action-packed movie when it comes to theaters. Next up, we had Hugh Jackman come onto the stage, and he actually talked about the Sheep Detectives. And you know, to be honest, I'm actually very intrigued by this movie. I feel like it's a spiritual sequel to Babe. So what is this movie about? It's about a sheep herder who dies mysteriously. And the sheep herder was actually reading mystery novels to his flock of sheep every night. And so now that he's dead, the sheep now are going and investigating what happened to him. So like all the farm animals are trying to do the investigation and trying to figure out who murdered their master, basically. So that's what the Sheep Detectives is about. So it's going to be like a fun, family-friendly movie when it hits theaters. Next up, they have My Colt Is a Passport. Now this is just your basic action movie right here. So this movie is just another typical hitman movie about a hitman in 1970s Detroit, and then he has a bunch of assassins that are pretty much going after him too. So that's what this movie is going to be about. The next movie that came up was How to Rob a Bank, and another action movie. This one is very similar to, from what I could gather from the descriptions, it has a very Point Break-esque feel to it. So it deals with a bunch of YouTube streamers, Twitch streamers, who are robbing banks and then showcasing all the robberies online. So that's going on. And then we have a detective played by John C. Reilly, who comes in and hires Zoe Kravitz, who is a computer hacker, to help solve the case and everything like that. So like I said, it is very familiar to a Point Break-esque type of movie. So you know what? I'm kind of curious about this one. I do like Point Break, the original one, not as much as the sequel. But yeah, this might be a fun one to go watch. Next up, they show footage from Mahershala Ali's new movie, Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother. And this one has a weird title. Yes, it's very wordy. But basically, this movie is about another hitman who is this time a family man whose wife has passed away. And we get like this whole world where he's trying to deal with the fact that he's a hitman and trying to juggle a life as being a father, being a single father too, and like all that chaos that ensues. From the description of this movie and the footage they showed, it's a very different feel to it. The director of this movie was actually one of the directors that was going to direct the Blade movie. It's very interesting, huh? So that director dropped from the project. Marash Ali is still in limbo on Blade, but they went together and made this movie, and it's very interesting to see how the movie turns out when it hits theaters this year. Next up, they had Verity, which is another movie. It's based off a book from Colleen Hoover, and the clip that they showed basically shows Josh Hartnett hiring Dakota Johnson to come in and look after his wife who has been in an accident. It was kind of like comatose, and then there's some kind of like psychological thriller going on, something like because like Dakota Fanning is like a ghostwriter that's finishing Anne Hathaway's book, and then Anne Hathaway's like in a coma and can't actually move or do anything, and so there's like all this tension, and like it sounds crazy, it sounds really interesting, very much a one of those single white female type of thrillers. So yeah, I am very curious about how this movie's going to play out in theaters, and might be very interesting to check out. Next up on there, they brought in the big guns for this one. Yes, we got Spaceballs, the new one. Yep, they finally brought out the footage from the new Spaceballs movie, and I cannot be happier. So they're in the middle of production on this one. This one is not supposed to be releasing until next April, but yeah, they brought out some footage. They brought out Rick Moranis on stage. So they did bring out Louis Pullman and Josh Gad, who are playing the sons of Barf and Lone Star. Louis Pullman is actually playing the son of Lone Star, who is actually played by his real life father. That's really cool. And the footage they provided was some of it unfinished. They showed some more skits. There's a scene in there with a Navi in there. But yeah, there seems to be a joke a minute type of feeling for this one. So I know we're getting Scary Movie 6 this year. We're going to be getting this one next year. Hopefully these spoof movies are coming back, and hopefully they are good. This one could be a hit and miss, but you know what? I love Spaceballs, the movie, and it's one of my favorite movies growing up. And I am really, really looking forward to this movie. So I can't wait to see what they do with this movie. But yeah, that was Spaceballs, the movie, or actually no, now it's called Spaceballs, the new one. The next film they talked about was Highlander. You know, I'm not a very much big fan of the Highlander series. I remember watching the first one when I was very little, and I've really never gone back to actually watch it again as I've been an adult. So this may be a movie I want to go back and check out because a lot of people say this is one of their favorite movies. But yeah, they have a new Highlander movie coming out starring Henry Cavill as Connor McLeod. And you know what? The footage they showed pretty much showed you that this movie is in good hands. Henry Cavill is keeping his Scottish accent in the movie, unlike Christopher Lambert, who kind of had an ambiguous accent in the movie. And then they showed a little bit more of Dave Bautista's Kurgan, who this time is more of a subdued version than what Clancy Brown played in the original movie. And yeah, this one's going to look pretty cool too. They show more of his backstory. That this time there's like a scene with him fighting McLeod during World War II. It's going to look crazy. I am very excited to see where this movie goes. And last but not least, they showed clips from I Play Rocky. Now, this is the newest biopic about Sylvester Stallone and him trying to get the Rocky movies made. From the descriptions and with the reviews I've been reading about it, this is one that you do not want to miss. So I am pretty much excited to see this one. Directed by Peter Farrelly. Just like the Rocky movie, you know, the Rocky movie is about an underdog being persistent and trying to overcome all the obstacles. That's what this movie looks like. And it's crazy how much Sylvester Stallone's real life mirrors the story of Rocky in that sense. So yeah, this looks like it's gonna be a great movie. I could be an Oscar contender next year. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. That's pretty much it. That was an Amazon MGM panel. I mean, they brought a lot of stuff they've already talked about. Not much new stuff. They didn't talk about James Bond, you know, which is kind of a bummer because we wanted to know more about the new James Bond. Who is the new James Bond? But Denis Villeneuve is actually so busy with Dune 3 right now. He probably even hired the new James Bond, even though I think they did. I'm pretty sure they have already by now at this point. But yeah, so what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section down below. Were you excited by any of these movies that they announced at the Amazon MGM panel? Were these some of these actually disappointments for you? Were you kind of let down by the actual list of movies they talked about? Let me know in the comments section down below. The next video I'll be posting will be a combination of the Paramount and Disney panel. So to keep an eye out for that one. That'll probably come out around Friday or Saturday this week. So guys, keep an eye on those videos coming out later this week. And until next time, guys, remember to hit the like, the subscribe, the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is posted. And remember, I'm JD, and this is the Figgy Pop Culture Channel.